All right, so welcome to tonight's Mastermind event, and I know that there is some familiar faces, but a lot of us are brand new to this. And the one thing that I just want to go ahead and just throw out there, this is for collaboration, all right? And there's people from other industries, and there's people from other different professions as well. But we come up with the topics, and if it relates and reverts back to real estate, well, there's someone that could go ahead and talk about that topic, or a situation on how we can go ahead and better the situation that we're in. I wanted to go ahead and bring up two professionals that they should be joining us a little bit later today. They're in the REO space, the real estate owned space. And they're going to talk to us about like what's happening, and what's coming our way, and how to prepare ourselves, whether you're a consumer or a producer, what to go ahead and look out for. But first things first, keep in mind this is an open forum. So if you feel that you have something to go ahead and bring a value, please go ahead and speak of it, so that we could all learn from one another. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about the first topic. The first topic that I have is credit. And does anyone know at what age you guys could go ahead and add your kids to your credit cards as an authorized user? Anyone?
$16.
All right, shoot it, James.
I'm sorry, I do believe I heard you say if anybody added their kids to
Sure.
their credit cards as an authorized user, yes. My 15-year-old and my 16-year-old.
All right.
So
Okay.
$10,000 trade line discovered.
Perfect. So just to give you guys a heads up, the age that you could go ahead and add your child as an authorized user is 13 years old.
Wow.
So my daughter is 12. She's going to be 12. And I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm going to add her to, my gold Amex card. What does that tell you? By the age of, 17 and a half, she'll have a 940 credit score, right? And keep in mind, if you give your kids the keys to the Lamborghini, or, if you have the Lamborghini in the garage, make sure to hide the keys. Right? So yeah, case in point, you can add your authorized users, kids at the age of 13 years old, hide those, credit cards, and keep them away. Matter of fact, let's see here. I have another hack, and this one here I just learned from my great friend David Golden, that's on the call with us. Hey David, what's going on?
What's up, buddy? I was going to jump in and tell you too. Both my son, who's 15, and my daughter, who are 13, are both authorized users on my Amex.
There you go. There you go. So those are the keys that you guys could go ahead and utilize. One of the things that I learned from David was that there's a credit card called, is it Built? So Built, yep. Matter of fact, I have it right.
BILT, yeah.
Yeah, so BILT. And with the credit card Built, if in case you rent from a specific builder, and it could be commercial, it could be residential, they actually give you points, spending points, travel points, for you to go ahead and use when you are paying your $2,000-$3,000 lease payment. David, where are you joining us from today?
I'm at my Scottsdale home today, the condo.
Okay, so Scottsdale home, and where were you at last week? Was it last week?
Maui.
Maui. What did you pay? What did you pay to go to Maui? Let me guess.
Zero.
$0.
$0. The only thing I used was Southwest points for my flight. My girlfriend Emily is my companion, so she comes for free. And then I used Hyatt points to free night certificates to stay at the Waldorf Astoria Grand Wailea.
Okay, what he just said is that's $1,900 a night to stay there, without throwing the price out there. So here's the deal, guys. With great risk comes, greater responsibility. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, either you drive the nice fancy car or you go to the nice fancy vacations. But the reason you're basically doing this, and this is what I learned from my friend Gus, that's also on here, it's the people you're going to rub elbows with. The people that, you're putting yourself around is basically going to bring out greatness. And I'll tell you straight up, I met David in Las Vegas at an event. And without even knowing one another, I think I bought like a $1,300, bottle way back in the day. But what's so crazy is that gesture was, one of the ways that we got to meet one another. And now fast forward 13 years later, I mean, look at the relationships and the connections that we've built. David, by the way, has sold over 18,000 real estate owned properties leading from San Diego to Las Vegas and everywhere in between. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. So here's the other one. Does anyone else have any credit hacks that you can share?
Well, I think the built one's probably my favorite right now, just because everybody pays rent or mortgage, but if you're paying rent, you're literally getting nothing for it. So these guys they'll write the check for you and then bill you on their credit card for it. So it's coming as a check to the landlord. So you could, if you're renting, it makes perfect sense to just do it, because you're going to get, and then if you pay your rent on the first, you get double points, which is something cool. So instead of getting 1 point for every dollar you spend, you get 2 points for a dollar. So you have a $3,000 mortgage, that's 6,000 points. That's a night out at a resort right there. Just paying your rent for a month. Like, it's just free travel for doing nothing. And there's no annual fee. So it makes them like not to do it. What's up, Valerie?
And a lot of people don't know
Hi, sorry.
a lot of people don't know you can add almost any payment history to your credit. So a lot of people might be familiar with Experian Boost, right? Basically, you attach your bank account and it pulls your utilities. It looks for cell phone bills, but you've always been able to do that. And so if you don't, and I don't recommend you attach your bank account to Experian. Do not do that, because number one, they do have data breaches constantly. They may not tell you a lot about it, but I know they do. And number two is it's a profiler. That's all they're doing is profiling, and you're telling them everything there is to know about you. And then they sell that information to other companies. But at the end of the day, you can get a 12-month payment history on any one of your utilities. So it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's a credible company. You can get a payment history and add that payment history to your bureaus manually if you choose as well. It's a little more tedious because you got to go to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, but it's relatively simple. You just submit it and they'll report the history on there.
Awesome. If I can chime in on James's part of the credit history and the lines of credit. Right now, we're going to go into a very long winter. Okay. I hope that we prepared and grabbed as many as many nuts as long as we what do you call it? As long as you put away as many nuts as possible. But here's the deal. Everything is based on your debt to income ratio. Let's say you have, $30,000 in credit card debt. All right, well, am I going to work harder to pay that off, or what's an alternative? Does anyone else know what an alternative is? So one of the alternatives that you could go ahead and use, understand that we want to protect our credit. But if we know that we are holding a large sum of, debt, we could literally call that credit card company and ask for a credit limit increase. So long story, let's just say $10,000 is what your credit line is, and you used, $4,000 of it. Well, that's 40%. If you call in and just say, hey, you know what? I just need an extra couple $1,000. Perfect. We'll go ahead and not even run your credit, and you could ask them, are you guys going to do a hard pull or soft pull or internal? And they'll say, you know what? Sure. $3,000. We'll raise your credit limit to 13,000. 13,000, half of that is 6,500. Now you're at a 50% on that card without even having to pay an extra dollar. So anyone want to verify? Go for it.
Yeah, I gotta chime in on that one because
me too.
that's something that I talk to people about all the time. And in fact, I just completed a podcast where I'm talking about credit fundamentals. And the biggest thing that Jesse's talking about is credit utilization. A lot of people say, I got a 780 FICO, and I'm not necessarily saying anybody here, but this is the basics. Breaking it down real simple is credit utilization. Utilization is the most important thing on anything you could learn about credit. And that's specifically on revolving trade lines, not installment trade lines. Installment trade lines, everybody pretty much is aware that just means you got a fixed dollar amount at a fixed interest rate over a fixed period of time, right? Whereas a revolving account, you have a limit, you charge it, you pay it, that becomes available to you again. So that's the utilization. So a lot of companies out there will tell you, okay, 30% is the optimal credit utilization. Meaning if you had a $1,000 credit card, you don't want that balance to really go over that $300 limit for optimization. That's not wrong, but it's not entirely true. From my experience with over 600-700 people that I've helped from 480, 500 credit scores to home ownership now is 15%. If you're going to make a major purchase, if you're going to go buy a car, if you're going to go buy a jet ski, an RV, a Sea-Doo, a home, whatever it may be, usually 3 to 6 months prior to that, you want to make sure that those limits are set down to 15% to maximize your credit score. They don't have to be there, but again, that's for optimization. But, and a lot of people don't understand as well, like zero balances is good on credit when you're, in order to optimize your score. No, when you want a credit boost or a bump in your credit score, you never want to buy something and pay it off because there's never any reflected. Well, you have a low chance for there to be a whole lot of utilization because you got to remember it's a software grading you. When you look at the Experian, the Equifax, and the TransUnion, they all have software associated with it. So it's not a person grading it, it's the software. So the software wants to see some activity on it, and it wants to relatively see that activity at 50% or that utilization at 50% or below. Once you go over that 50% into 60, 70, 80, 90, and if anybody goes over limit, that will ding your credit score almost as much as if you had a 30-day late. So optimization is 15. Try not to buy something and pay it off. You want to charge it, make minimum payments on it for 1 to 2 months. So you get that little bit of utilization, then pay it off if your score is where you need it to be, because why would you pay interest on something unnecessarily?
Right. And also
Can I jump into there?
Shoot it.
So ideally you should be applying for a credit card every 6 months anyways. So I would say apply for a credit card every 6 months because that way you have no more than 4 in a 2-year period, which is going to be more than fine. You could probably apply for actually every 4 or 5 months really. And then your available credit goes up even more. Therefore your utilizations come down even further. I had one case where I wanted to get another Chase credit card because I love Chase. They're by far my favorite. And so I wanted another Chase credit card and they denied me. So I called their reconsideration line and said, hey, why did I get denied? And they're like, well, you have too much credit with us already. I said, cool. Well, I'm interested in getting this Hyatt credit card. That's going to give me some, 60,000 bonus points when I have a minimum spend in the first 90 days or whatever. I'm like, I want the Hyatt card because I'm a loyal Hyatt customer. And I said, can you transfer some of my $30,000 credit line from my Freedom Unlimited and transfer 15,000 over to my Hyatt card, because now I get another credit card. I get to say, they don't give me any more money, any more credit available, which is fine. I didn't need the credit, but I want the new credit card because I want the new bonus.
The
So
perks.
every credit card gives you a bonus every time you get one. So it's like they're giving you free money, $2,000 worth in many cases, worth of points just for using the new card. So I'm like, so
Why not?
And if times get hard or a recession comes and you run into financial trouble, trust me, you're going to want a $150,000 credit line available to you with all your credit cards versus having $5,000 available credit and you blow through that in a month. Or
Hey,
you get
ready?
unemployed or something.
So David, when is the best time to apply for credit? Anyone know the simplest answer to that? You ready? The
After you
best
pay
time to
down your other
apply for
cards.
credit is when you don't need it.
Yeah, there you go. Very
Right now, that's the perfect time.
very wise. When you don't need it is when you want to apply for it. So that way, when you do need it, it's there for you and you're not getting denied.
So I'm not a financial expert, or any of that nature, attorney and so on. That's my disclosure. But I just want to share this with you guys. Okay. How many people in the room are self-employed? Right? Okay. How many of you guys have a goal to hit this year? 700,000, 800,000, a million, 200,000, whatever it is. When you are applying, they're literally asking, oh, are you self-employed? Yes, I am. What's your goal for this year? My goal's 525,000. What's your annual salary? Well, this year, my goal is 525. Have I hit it yet? Not yet, but I'm close. Okay. And, once again, what's your employment? Well, I'm an engineer. I engineer deals, I engineer loans, find your profession, and you'll see that the lines get opened up. And just like David said, you got 4 chases, you want to play the game, let's do it. 4 chases, $100,000, keep the oldest one alive, and basically call the newest one that they just gave you. And the way it works is that you have a $15,000 on your newest card. You could say, I want you to transfer the balance or the credit line of $14,500 to my old existing. Now you have, instead of a 25, you have a $40,000 line. And now you have a credit card for $500. I don't need that. You can go ahead and close it now, even though you just gave it to me. And then in 6 months, I'm going to go ahead and apply again, and I'm going to get another $25,000 credit card. I might balance transfer 24,500 of that one. Yes, that is realistic, and you can do it. Reason is, that's how I roll. Anyone want to chime in on that?
I have a question. This is Maribel here, and sorry I'm off camera, but how many credit cards? I need to say open 6, credit card every 6 months and such, right? But isn't the idea is to do the transfer, or the idea is to, I guess have that fund available and transfer over to a new one? I guess I'm thinking, if you have too many credit cards open, isn't that going to be, a bad thing to have?
How many credit cards do you think is too many to have open?
I don't know, but I guess
Well,
the
yes.
question is if we have too many, isn't that going to be bad for your credit?
But give me an estimate of what you think is too many.
I don't know. I mean, give me like 10.
10.
Right,
Okay,
say
cool.
10.
So I'm looking at Credit Karma's app right now. If you have 0 to 10 credit cards or accounts, you need work. A fair amount is between 11 and 20. And excellent credits in total accounts ratings is 21 or more accounts.
Yikes. I'm sorry. Hold on that real quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know that's Experian and Credit Karma, but that's not, that's to me, I think the proper answer for anybody, at least for me, for when I'm talking to clients, is whatever you can manage properly.
Whatever you can handle.
You know what I mean? Whatever
right.
you
I'm
can
saying-
manage properly.
But
As
the
long
way
as
they
you're using right? As long as you're using all the cards, or just, I mean, I don't want to keep them idle. I mean, as long as you're using all the
If
cards.
you, so keep the ones idle that have 0 annual fees. If they have no annual
Absolutely.
fees, it doesn't matter how many you have. You can just put them in a sock drawer. Like, just have the available credit and get the sign up bonuses. I mean, it just makes sense to do it. There's no reason not to do it. And if you have 20 accounts, it just shows that you're more responsible.
So ready,
You know
guys?
what I was thinking? I was thinking it was the latter, right? That if you had the more, like a few, handful of credit cards, they're not being utilized, that it was a bad thing. And I mean, I used to have like 10 or something, and I started closing things out and paying them out. Because I thought, okay, if they're just sitting there, then it's just not going to be great for my credit.
Nope, exact opposite.
Right.
Exact opposite.
Okay.
If you-
So one of the things here that I like to promote at a firm mastermind is it's real. What you guys are seeing, I'm not talking out of my foot. Ready? Here it is. Can you guys see the credit score there? Right? So you guys see the 770, the 774. That's live. And I'm at like 30. Uh-oh, I can't hear David. David's
That's
like,
crazy.
wait,
Sorry, I only have, I think I only have 14. And I'm
Man,
like,
well, for us mere mortals, you know what I mean?
yeah, I only have 14. I'm trying to get to 20. I'm trying to get to at
Yeah.
least 20. Like, I'm ready for the
ready?
next one.
So I could use this one right here to buy a house in Detroit. True story. Gus is on the line. I can buy this one to go ahead and get me a 645 BMW i. This one I can build a house on. You just don't know what you will need it for. And the only thing that I'm really bringing that up is, it gives you leverage and it gives you options.
Right.
Okay.
And it gives you free travel.
Look at that.
But
Or-
let's keep it 100 too, though. Like most people, especially our clients that we deal with on a daily basis, they could barely walk and chew bubble gum, a lot of them, and they get themselves, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, it's just people need to be coached, and we need to stand shoulder to shoulder with them, right? If we're talking to a client and trying to do what we do, right? When I tell people, I make sometimes $2,000, $3,000 just on the extra money, the bonus money every month on utilizing my cards by, obviously like you guys do, purchase something, pay it off just to get my points, or my cash back. But, when people, we got to remember that most of us are programmed from the time that we can understand anything that we need to buy things we don't need with money we don't have. That's just a common predisposition. The average American, spends $3,000-$6,000 at Christmas on credit, and then spends the entire year paying that money back just to do it again, right? And they never really think about how much interest that's costing them, because, again, these credit cards are so beautifully designed that the interest is almost out of sight, out of mind. They don't really feel too much of how much that they're getting paid, or that they're paying on that, and it's crazy.
But again, right? So let's just say in this market, right? Let's say in this market, you can also transfer the same points you get on that built card. You could transfer them to Chase points, and then you can get money back. You don't even need to travel. So like, if people need extra money, that's free money.
Oh,
Just
big
use the
time.
card instead of a debit card, right? So it's silly not to do it. And it's so simple. This is not rocket science, right?
It is. And that's why we have to start with our clients
Well,
and the people that we deal with, especially our kids, right? It isn't really about us. We can talk all we want about what we can do, but our kids are the ones who are seeing this, right? And a lot of the times our kids may be in proximity watching us do this, but not really put 2 and 2 together of how to play the game. And I'm not saying none of us here aren't doing that, but I'm just saying very few people actually transmit that to their children or to anybody in their circle of influence, right? We talk a good game about how much we're doing, but are we really breaking it down to people to show them how it gets done? Because it wasn't easy getting to that part where you got $100K limit on a credit card, right? So, most people do that $500,000 limits, and the next thing you know, they get trapped because life happens, right? Oh, I can have $100 bill on my pocket and I'll be at Disneyland and go to get those turkey legs and put that turkey leg on a credit card instead of breaking that 100, because I'll just pay it off next week. But guess what? Wednesday comes, you need new tires, car breaks down, But you got that credit card, you're like, okay, well, let me just put it on this credit card real quick. Anyways, and it just next thing you know, they're trapped. They're
No,
trapped.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Believe
but
me,
I tell
I've gone through this cycle twice. I mean, I've declared bankruptcy twice, full disclosure, right? Like it's not like I'm some genius. Like I've made my
oh,
mistakes.
you
Don't
are.
get me
You're
wrong.
definitely a genius. Look at
Like,
you. You're doing well.
But because I've had the pain and suffering of one, being on my mom's credit card and ruining her credit because of my dumbass, two, going bankrupt my first time, three, going bankrupt my second time and losing all my houses in 08. So I've made all those mistakes now. So now I'm like, hey guys, don't do what I did. Let's figure this out, and I'll walk you through how to do it. I love this topic. This is my hobby. It's my passion. Like I love the
Absolutely.
point
So I guess Maribel, the best thing too is what I tell people most of the time is just you want to focus on like 2 or 3 solid cards and just getting those limits as high as you possibly can to start, just to start. That doesn't mean you can't have 30 and 15, but naturally if somebody bites off more than they can chew, it's just going to get them in trouble really quick, because we all know how quickly credit sucks us in, and next thing you know, you're in an impossible hole to get out of, and you're filing bankruptcy. But I tell a lot of people, just focus on what you can manage. Do those, start with 1, get a system in place, then you level it up to 2. Now focus on those 2, getting those limits as high as possible. And all that's done through the credit utilization. You don't really want to carry consistently high balances and only make minimum payments for extended periods of time, because
Right.
that shows the system that you're living on credit. And that's
Right.
not what it's optimized to see.
Gus,
Yeah.
you wanted to
Can
bring
I ask a
something up?
question real quick?
Okay, go ahead, Maribel, and then Gus, and then Norma.
Okay, I was just gonna say I had called the credit card to actually increase the balance, and I got denied. And I guess I maybe should try another person, right? Because I knew about something similar, like hey, call and get it, get your credit increase, etc. I just didn't get it. I just need to be more bolder, I guess, and call back and say why not? Why did I get denied, etc. Or So I
Maribel,
just
Put
need
more
to-
income in.
I can
Put more income in.
walk you through that. I can walk you through that in person if you want, live tomorrow or whenever. I'm
Yeah.
happy to help you with that.
There you
Okay,
go.
cool.
Welcome to Affirm. Go ahead, Gus.
I gone from I did 13 years of school. I went from a high school dropout to having a master's in bilingual education. So in those 13 years, you know how many times I talked about money? 0 after 0, right?
That's right,
I
Kenny.
incurred $220,000 worth of school loans. I carry a balance that Biden is going to forgive 10,000. You know what I'm saying? That's like taking a flea off a dog for me. You know what I'm saying? So that's
With all
basically
due
what
respect,
Biden's going
guys.
to do for me. You know what I'm saying? So I was never thought that money was going to come back and bite me later. Not that it hurts me, because I invested 220 and I get 97 back or 92 back a year. You know what I'm saying? So it's an investment that I made on myself, but it really starts at home. I teach second grade, and in my classroom, I invested $100 in a Disney, and we have it on there, and we keep track if we make money or we lose money. You know, when my kids have ever heard of Disney, just buy a ticket. That's all they know. That's all they know. Save your money and buy a ticket. I said, nah, we're going to be owners of Disneyland. How are we going to do that? Let me show you. Boom, we bought $100. So we physically have a $100 little piece of pie for Disneyland. So if you truly want to change that, we were talking about that our culture has, right? We're scared of credit and start at the bottom. Like I said, I did 13 years of school completely, and we did zero economics. We did macroeconomics, microeconomics, but personal balancing a check. If I still have checks, I still have money. That was basically how I handled that one. You know what I'm saying? And just live till the next loan comes in. So I like how all the credit cards, because another thing that I didn't hear is spousal credit. I balance my credit with my wife's credit also. So you're able to build, Norma. I'm not sure if you're married or not, but my wife's credit jumps up, I grab 10, 15 through her, and I grab another 10, 15 through me. So you can build your platform through through your spouse's credit also.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
that's how I put that together.
Perfect, Gus. Norma, go ahead.
Hi, Jesse.
Hey, Norma. What up?
I had a question. How long did it take you to get all of that, all of those cards? What
Great
does that process
question.
look like?
All right, so you guys grab a pen, get ready. So like David said, I'm going to tell you guys, Caesar's not on the call today, but I'm in one of his books, in one of his chapters. You could overcome everything. In the beautiful country of the United States, you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. Okay. I believe I did everything the right way. But it, didn't look to be like that in my favor. Norma, you know me, and we'll talk about this on another mastermind event because it's a great topic. Apparently, I owed $500,000 to the IRS in 2006. All right, apparently. And the one thing is, like, if you guys can see all this gray hair, oh boy, did I earn it, right? Long story short, I'm not an attorney or a CPA or that. But the word on the street was it was 4 years from your original filing date, you could actually include federal income tax into your bankruptcy. So I fought these guys. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Dan. It is easier to get $1 million in credit than earning it. But fast forward, I did everything right. At the very end of the day, they basically gave me an apology letter and they said, Mr. Morfin, you don't owe us 500,000, you owe 43 grand. I had already paid them like 130,000. And they took 2.5 years of my life that I was never in that situation before. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this so that you guys can hear what I've overcome, David's done, James has done, all of us, right? On that note, I filed for bankruptcy and I included $22,000 of federal debt that I owed just as a FU to them. Sorry, okay? After I went ahead and did that, because I could have paid it, but it was principal at that point. I went ahead and I got 2 applied credit cards that were, what do you call it when you put money on? Prepaid, I guess.
Secured.
Secured. So I got 2 secured credit cards for $1,000 a piece. I hired a credit removal company to expunge the credit. My first $20,000 line was 9 months later. So
I remember this all happening too.
yeah. So I went from, having bankruptcy 9 months later, $20,000, down. And right now I hold $600,000 in credit card availability. And I only owe like 22,000 at 0%, just so you guys know. But it's a game, guys. And to answer what James said, 2 things really quick. James, you're absolutely correct. This is not a normal group of people, number one. So when we are educating our consumers, be careful. We can't give them this type of information because it's information overload, number one. 2, they don't know how to drive the Ferrari. Don't give them the keys, right? But you want to expand your business. Guess what? We have John G here from Las Vegas. Long story short, do you drop $10,000 into your business today or $1,000 a month for 12 months? John, you drop $10,000 today on a credit card at a $200 payment. That's going to give you a rate of return of 65,000 bucks. Would you do that? Yes. Swipe my card. And I think James and we were talking about that earlier. One last thing, Gus. I actually had a line, I was on a call. Oh, no. On Netflix, there's a great program called How Money Works. How Money Works on Netflix. it basically shows a 65-year-old lady that utilized student loans. And at the time of her retirement, they are taking her, the student loans are getting be paid back through her Social Security. She gets donuts now, guys. So straight up, why am I stacking all these credit cards? I don't know. I might pay for my kids' college on one of those, and we'll figure that out later. I might even let it go charged off, and then I'll pay them $5,000 and I'll tell them to go kick rocks, you know, but I'm not taking federal money.
Hey, Jesse.
John G, let's go.
Okay, question. So if you're applying for credit cards, like if I wanted to get 2 or 3, can I just reach out to like 3 different credit companies? And like, just like when you buy a house and you get a loan, you can get 2 or 3 people to look at your credit without dinging it? Or do you recommend like once every 6 months, have them look at it?
If you guys go through a credit union does one pull, one hard pull. And if they have 2 different credit cards, they will give you both credit cards at once.
And
So
Experian
credit
is really
union
good
first?
for that too.
Say that again,
That's
James?
that's one good tool that Experian does, John.
Yes.
Is if you have that downloaded, they'll show you exactly what your matched credit cards are. Just pay attention to the yearly fees, like David said, because some of them kind of hide those in there a little bit, but at least it'll profile it all for you.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's a company called I think it's cardmatch.com. I think it's Cardmatch that you go there and it won't pull your credit and it'll tell you exactly which cards you would match really well with based on your information. And if you're going to start doing this game, start with Chase, because Chase is the only company that actually limits how many cards you can get in the first. They have a 524 rule that's undisclosed, but basically you cannot have more than 5 pieces of credit with anyone in 24 months. If you have more than 5 in 24 months, they will not approve you no matter who you are.
And,
So
and
always
that's
start with
why,
Chase.
and that's why you balance the transfer, you reduce it to a $500 line, close that account out. Congratulations, you're opening up another, the availability for a trade line. Tanya had a question.
It's not a question as much as your gentleman that is in education and went into English as a second language. I don't know if you know, but there's a program with the state of California. It's called Apple. If you teach certain subjects, and EL is one of them, and you work at a school that has more than 35% low income, low SES, they will pay back so much per year for 5 years. So like my student loans, I only took out $27,000. I had to pay on them while I was paying, but by the time I was done, they paid $19,000 of my loans.
Wow.
So
and
Well,
that's called the Apple program, like a grant.
yes,
They,
so yes,
go ahead.
it's called the Apple program. It's APL though.
Okay, APL, perfect.
You know, the beauty of working in San Bernardino Unified, we get, I call it combat pay. So
You qualify, I'll tell you right now, that's where I taught.
He straight said combat pay.
if you teach for 10 years, 10 years in a low income school, they'll forgive all your loans, whatever your balance is, after 120 payments, consecutive payments.
Okay.
So guess when I'm going to retire? Exactly when the 120 payments are done.
Come on, yeah,
You know?
10 years in one day, right? All right.
Yeah, that's my retirement. When are you going to retire? As soon as I hit 120 payments, that's when I'm going to retire. But yeah, that's one of the benefits of teaching in San Bernardino. It's that low income, like my kind of balance. You teach it in my school district, after 10 years, they forgive whatever's left over. So that's going to be my retirement check.
So I taught special education in San Bernardino, and that's the program that I utilized, was the Apple.
Apple, perfect.
Can I say something real quick, Gus? I wanna commend you for what you're doing with the kids, because not only showing them to invest in Disney and what they can see, like how it fluctuates up and down, and what kind of financial literacy comes from that in a simplistic way. But especially in the Black and Latino communities, like that's something that we don't impart enough to our children, especially the teachers, the fundamentals of credit, fundamentals of finance, because imagine the power in teaching kids basic finance, like just the basics of credit, the basics of investments, especially in the Black and Latino community. It's just tremendously valuable. And that's where my heart is. That's why do this podcast and this YouTube channel is not just for the adults. It's so they can, in proximity, transmit it to their kids, because you can't transmit something you haven't got.
Hey,
And
hey,
us
throw
as-
that, throw your YouTube channel and your podcast on there so we can support you.
Yeah, please, absolutely. Type it in the chat, James.
Yeah. Both of my kids have green light debit cards that we can load up for them, and that they get paid for doing chores. So they do a certain chore and they get paid for that chore. And so the green light program, it's like $5 a month to manage it. And I can control what my kids, how my kids get paid for doing what they need to be doing. So they get rewarded for what they do. And they both have crypto wallets with Bitcoin, Ethereum, et cetera, on there. And I just showed my son, actually, he showed me how to mint an NFT, because I wanted to know how to do it. And I didn't know how. And I was like, Isaac, figure this out. I'll give you the money for it. And so I gave him the Ethereum. He minted the NFTs. And now he has 3 NFTs that he mints for video games, that he gets paid for playing video games.
We need Isaac on the next meeting. Thank you so much. That's super cool. That's great. All right, guys. Does anyone have another, question or, a comment?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to, oh, hi.
Hey, Dan.
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get myself. Hi, sorry, I'm a little dark over here, but I wanted to share with you guys another card, another tool. It's called Self. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
No.
Is anybody?
What's it
Okay,
do?
so what it does is that really and truly, they go out and get a, what do you call it? They get a, what is it? The certificate of deposit of certificate, right? Certificate of deposit, right? And so it's like a savings, but they show that it hits your credit report, right? And at the end of a year, you get that money back, actually, right? But you've raised your FICO score by 100 points. And it all depends, and you can do as little as $50 a month, or as much as you want. And you can, you can do 1 year or 2 years or whatever years that you want. But it'll for sure raise your FICO score by 100 points. Ask me how I know. Right? Yeah, and I have no credit cards, by the way. I mean, I'm gonna get back into getting more credits, but I have zero credit cards, and I have a 700 FICO, something like that.
Do you pay rent or do you own?
Nothing, neither.
Even
Neither.
better.
What happened? No. I went into.
Do you live in your car?
No, I went into bankruptcy. I went into bankruptcy, and essentially, and then I was sick. I have an autoimmune, and I was out of commission for about 3 years. 1 year in the hospital and 3 years worth of treatment. And I still need, and I use that card to continue to create credit for myself.
Can I chime in on this? I want everyone to please understand what I went over, or the experiences that we shared. It's not to cheat the system, manipulate the system. It's to use the system to its fullest potential.
Yep.
I understand that, yes, I mentioned I filed for bankruptcy. I played all my cards right, and it didn't work. I pulled that card. And I'm going to tell you guys, some of us will go through our entire lives playing by their rules. Okay. 700 FICOs, FYI, this and this, the whole 9 yards, okay? You're 64 years old, you're 70 years old, you're 80 years old with a 900 FICO score. You did nothing with it, which is okay, right? But let's just say that your significant other gets ill and doesn't, now you can't go to work and you didn't utilize the credit. And now your legacy is at risk. I believe it's 28 days in the hospital will wipe out whatever you think you have in savings. 28 days in the hospital. Okay. So guess what? You didn't risk anything. You didn't play the game that we're talking about. And you're telling me that now I'm 67 years old and I have to file for bankruptcy? No way, Jose.
Well, the rules are the rules, guys. And I don't agree with them, but they're
No.
not going to change, right? The FICO system is totally flawed. The currency system and fiat currency is completely flawed. Just the way everything works, it doesn't make any sense. But that doesn't matter. What matters is you play by their rules.
Or how
That's
you
it.
play the game.
And
Absolutely.
how you play the game, because if not, you're going to lose.
That's it. And Jesse made a great point. It's the credit scores are good, right? It's 700, 760, but I've talked to a lot of people who had a 720, 780 credit score, but had no buying power. And that's what a lot of people don't understand with credit is obviously, yes, the name of the game is the higher credit score, but you can have a 760 FICO and not get a $5,000 trade line. If you have no history of making payments on a $5,000 trade line or even a moderately close trade line. So I know a lot of us, I did it a lot myself as I always focused on just credit limits, how much buying power can I get? But, only thinking about credit cards. And then I started dissecting really how the rich stay rich and how the big boys do it is the bank credit at the end of the day, right? But the regular credit is the door, the pathway to get to the true buying power, which is with bank credit. And the reason, what I mean by that is obviously if you have a $50,000 trade line, that gives you good buying power. But a lot of the times there is some interest rate, moderately high interest rate associated with it. If you don't watch what you're doing, depending on the type of card. But with the bank loan, for instance, let's say you wanted to buy a 150 unit apartment complex, right? And
Right,
you
David?
needed 20% down, right? Now that apartment complex costs $5 million. There's not very many credit cards, unless it's a black card, that you're going to get a loan for that down payment that you need to put down on that apartment complex, right? But a lot of the times what winds up happening is you build your bank credit up, and typically how you're doing that is borrowing money from the bank and paying it back quickly. And it's kind of what they call a signature loan. And again, I'm not no financial expert or nothing like this. This is just from what I've been in proximity with and been involved with over my 22 years in this business. But they go into the bank and get a signature loan essentially at 7%, right? If you know your ROI on that apartment complex is going to be, let's say 26%, you borrow the money at a simple 5%, or even if it was 7% simple interest, as far as what you're paying on that down payment and the overall cost of the loan. I mean, that's a win-win, right? You borrow money at 7, but you're making 19 points still on that apartment complex, and it didn't really cost you any money out of your pocket.
Right. I'll chime in on that part of it. When I started buying rentals in 2010, ready? I was paying 9 points. Okay, guys, for my hard money loans. So I was paying $9 grand to borrow 100 at 13% with a 3-year balloon payment. Okay. And I took it. I could have gone conventional. Yes, I had the credit, or I was building it back at that time, whatever it was. Okay. But the deal was like, it's so weird because like you guys follow or see who Grant Cardone is. I literally made myself sign at that 13% because I needed to get the deal. And then secondly, I was like, oh, hell no, I don't want this loan. So I'm going to work even harder to pay it off quicker. But regardless, the debt servicing part was being paid by the rents that were coming in. And fast forward, 5, 6 years later, man, it's a different ball game. It's a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
But that's where we're headed, guys. And if we can all pull money together, it's easier for us to go ahead and buy that 120 unit complex. I don't know if you guys know how Mandalay Bay was born, but it was a group of 5 or 6 individuals that all went to the same bar every single day that was on the strip. And I think it was $110,000 that the person wanted for the empty lot across the street, Mandalay Bay, just so you know. And 6 or 7 of them, just workers basically said, yeah, I'll put up 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Fast forward, I think they sold it for $1 gazillion, and that's all she wrote. Right. But if I don't have the 5,000 to drop, well, how can I make it possible? Put it on a card, pay $200, I'm in the game. What I'm trying to tell you guys is get in the game. This is the
Well,
only game we got.
I can chime in on this one because we bought Detroit houses with my remodel that kitchen money. Hey, I discover, hey, I want to remodel my kitchen again. I know I just did it 6 months ago, but this time I'm really gonna do it nice. I need 30,000, and that 30,000 turns into a whole house in Detroit, right? So the payment, I got 18 months free interest, and after that, that house, that rent has to kick in to pay the credit card. Now that house, once it's rented, it pays $800 a month. The payment for the credit card is $492. You shoot the 800. The house pays the credit card. You own the house outright. You still have the debt, but it's an unsecured debt, and you have a title in your hands for a house. So if I go bankrupt, hey, guess what? You know what I'm saying? That I own the house, right? I still own the house, and I have an unsecured debt. So, being able to play in that market, it creates opportunities that we can't see on this market because, 150 unit, I think we've seen 150 unit things for $500,000 there. I think
Yes,
we
we
saw
did.
one that was 250 units for $650,000, and it was about 60% rented. So you can utilize your credit to own things. I could physically remodel my kitchen. That's what Discover. Hey, Discover, guess what? I want to put a fountain in the front. It cost me 15,000. I take those 15,000. I'm saying, hey, Jesse, you in? Yeah, man. How much do I need? Hey, Jesse, bring in 15,000, and we'll just need a couple thousand for escrow. Cool. Hey, Jesse, we own a house now. What are we gonna do with it? And whether the house sits empty, I'll pay that credit card. I'll pay the $600 a month. You know what I'm saying? And I'll shoot 1,000 at it. I could shoot 1,000 at it for 15 months, be done. And my half, 50% of that house I own, he owns 50%. Hey, Jesse, you don't want to be in it? All right, shoot it my way. I'll give you an extra $1,000. Let me pay you back your 15,000. Hey, guess what? Chase, I want to remodel my kitchen again. I need a $15,000. Hey, don't worry, Mr. Limbo. We'll deposit it right into your account. Those folks deposit the money straight. You don't even have to go to the bank. They deposit that money straight into your account So
Yeah.
there is ways to buy outright real estate right now.
Absolutely. And
with
if it's
those
a
credit
business
cards.
credit card, you write off the interest.
Thank you.
Ooh.
And the payment.
And if the property's in, an LLC, you get to depreciate it. Oh crap!
Yes.
Like that like there's a whole process to everything that we just started talking about. Go ahead, David.
And if you're a realtor, you can offset that depreciation against your earned income, aka
What?
selling homes.
What?
So you pay less tax.
Hey, I only teach second grade. You're talking high school math now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
I'm just happy. I'm in Redlands, San Bernardino Airport, starting in February. We'll now start flying to Vegas. David, I'm looking for a house in well, David or John G, let's go.
John
You
G.
know,
I'm in
Yep.
Scottsdale, by the way.
Oh, right. So John G's the man. After I get the house in Vegas, I'm calling Kenny because I'm going to need solar on it. Kenny's our solar guy over in the Las Vegas market. But the reality of everything we just went in through here, guys, it's just a different way of thinking. It's many different ways of being able to skin a cat. There's no right or wrong way. Just skin the cat. It has skin on. Real quick, if you maybe another 5 or 10 minutes, but let's talk about REO. Okay. David, have you heard anything through the grapevine?
It's
So-
a great band. I like Ario.
Yeah, REO Speedwagon is my first concert. So what I've been hearing now is that the Airbnb craze is over. And a lot of these people that were having, 80%, 90% occupancy and their Airbnbs are at 0% occupancy for the month. Literally nothing. Because the credit tightening, right? The people have less money available. They're not going to go on trips. Like inflation's eating up a bunch of stuff. Like it's not a pretty situation. So Airbnbs are going to be probably defaulting soon, and the short sales are going to start coming. And they may or may not turn into foreclosures if they don't sell as shorts. So that's kind of the gist of what I'm hearing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we have had another guest that was to come in, super kickstart superstar agent as well. She's part of the mastermind already. But Laura, one of the things that she was mentioning is I've gotten a call from my asset manager already. She's gotten a call, and I'll tell you, they're telling her that California REOs will start being activated in 6 months. That's what I heard as well. What does that mean? It's who you know, not what you know. We can talk about that. David, had a big REO group that he developed, and we're all a part of. But if that's something that sparks your interest, or you guys care to know more, we can talk more about that. I'm just going to tell you this. What I got offered from my asset manager was, hey man, you ready to rock and roll? And I said, sure, let's go, open them up. And he says, yeah, we're giving you a 1.5% commission on the listings. And I said, you can keep it. 1.5% for the amount of headache, work, drive time, and do all this stuff. Hey guys, I rather find a buyer on Facebook and make my $15,000, $20,000. Now, I'm not saying I won't take it. I'm just saying I'm not going to be the one doing it. And this is where leverage comes into play. So yes, I would rather pay an agent of mine, the whole 1.5%, make sure they do a good job. Because I always tell you guys, yep. The target is not always the target, guys. If I need to put 57 signs, now I created market share, I own the city. And that's where I make my money.
And for each listing, you should get 2 buyers on average.
On average, signs are important. Go ahead, Norma. Oh, she was clapping, I think.
I was clapping.
Oh. So yeah, on that note, be careful what you wish for. If you really do want the REO market, it does take a lot of work. I just am going to tell you this. I owned a company, 65 agents, 700 transactions, 250 transactions, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I made my money when I was a solo agent, finding my own deals, locking up properties. I'm not going back, guys. Okay. So
and what about your stress level?
Oh, they added to these here. So, what I'm saying is, you know, the way I want to work, I know how to find deals. I know how to structure deals. So I need to be where the deals are at. And if I know that I have professionals that I can count on that will, you know, service the transactions, you best bet I refer 100% of the business, get my referral fee out of it, move on to the next one. I just don't want to miss a great opportunity. You know, a great opportunity. And, you know, right now, trim the fat. You know, I think, what's the website that basically tells you what subscriptions you have? Rocket.
True.
Rocket Mortgage just bought out the website. I pay $5.
Isn't it
And,
Trim app?
It's an app. What is it?
Trim?
I think it might be Trim.
Yeah.
You literally, you do attach your bank account info and it will tell you exactly like Rocket Money. It tells you like $5 to Netflix, $17 to Hulu. You know what? I just found out I was paying $10 to Planet Fitness. I don't even know where Planet Fitness is, you know, but these guys are still pulling, you know, $10 a month. So, you know, that's a great program to trim the fat, find out what you need. And you're right, to answer Maribel's question, Maribel, I have one credit card that I have all my auto payments on to make it easier for me to go ahead and track.
What was the app again? Rocket what?
Money Rocket.
Money Rocket. Okay.
Or Rocket Money.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah, Rocket Money. Yep, that's it. So yeah, guys, you know, once again, I really do want to thank you guys. If you guys like what you guys heard, you know, please invite other people that are like-minded that want to accomplish more. And we have people joining us from Arizona, Las Vegas, Northern California. Maribel's from Sacramento. We have San Diego. Like, here's the deal. They don't teach none of this stuff in school. No.
Yeah, thanks for
No.
hosting, Jesse.
No, thank you. Thank you, John, for joining. I will, you know, stop the recording and, you know, we load it in the archives. You guys are more than welcome to, you know, revisit it if there's anything that you guys, you know, missed out on. But other than that, I really do want to just thank you for your time. And Susanna, really quick, Susanna Jimenez, I literally just met her an hour and a half ago. Hour and a half ago. We're working on a deal together, right, Susanna? Let's see if she comes on.
Yes, that's true. And I'm excited to work with you now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure meeting you. Once again, guys, other than that, I will see you guys next Tuesday at 7 o'clock with another great topic.
Have a great day, everybody.
I appreciate you guys.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave.